Hey everybody, we're back for another class deep dive video. This time we're going to be taking a look at Rogue and Death Knight. I'm actually really excited for this particular stream because I'm interested in both of these classes. Mostly because I gravitate towards tanks and melee characters when I play World of Warcraft. So that's both these classes across the board. We got tanks, we got melee, it's all good. So I'm pretty excited about these. We're going to see if either one of them can potentially join Protection Paladin as a possible main spec that I want to play for Shadowlands, because it's all out there by its lonesome right now, which is not a bad thing. I feel like it's, I shouldn't complain about having a clear front runner in this competition for main spec to play in the upcoming expansion. But we're going to see. We're going to take a look. So just a reminder, in these videos, we're going to mainly be focused on the class at its core without all the extra layers of soul binds and legendaries and all that stuff. We're going to tackle all that in a different video, different set of streams, kind of giving them time to work out the kinks and stuff since they've only recently been introduced into the beta. So we're going to focus on the core class itself, the rotation, and just kind of look at what has changed from BFA to Shadowlands, how everything feels, and we're also going to look at the Covenant abilities whenever we can. So as we go through this, we're going to be following along with the Wowhead class change articles. I'll be linking to those in the chat so you guys can follow along if you want to. And we're going to kick things off with Rogue. So I'll pull up that article and post it in chat here. There you go. All right, and then following that, I'm going to throw in my little specialization ranking link here if anybody wants to check that out. I have updated it since the last class deep dive video, but keep in mind that's not a power rankings. It's just my own personal what I like and what I don't like so far, or what I think I'm going to play. So let's go ahead and jump into Rogue, and I really want to make this Pandaren female rogue. 'Cause I don't know, they look sneaky. Let's go random. What do we got here? I'm gonna take about 12 minutes to do. No, I'm just kidding. Now we'll go with this one. Rogue Panda. All right. Let's go. Sound will be turned on as soon as we get logged in. We get this big booming Battle for Azeroth login music, so keeping that muted for the time being. Let's see. Lost says about to lose internet. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in while you could. I know you'll be back around when you can. Stay safe out there on the road. As always. Murphy, how's it going? If you're wondering why Lost is going to lose internet, it's because he drives around. He's out there trucking. And sometimes you don't get reception. Cass, how's it going? Before we get started. This is from a couple streams ago, but we were talking about it. Look, this is Murloc merchandise. Boom. Yeah. So they do sell Murloc merchandise. There's other things too, like a Murloc onesie as well. All right, let's get some sound going up in here. And it looks like we're starting out as Assassination, so we'll check that out first. Okay. All right, so we're going to kick things off with Assassination. We're going to take a look first at the Covenant abilities, like the overview here, and then we'll go test them out in different zones with different specializations. So first up, we've got Kyrian. So let's check out the Kyrian rogue ability is Echoing Reprimand. This is an instant cast 45-second cooldown ability with 30 energy. It says deals 761 arcane damage to an enemy, extracting their anima to anima charge a combo point. Damaging finishing moves that consume the same number of combo points as your anima charge deal damage as if they consume 7 combo points. And this awards 3 combo points. So kind of a weird mini game that you play with yourself, where you are trying to match up the combo value of your finishers with whatever you have anima charged. Night Fae. Literally nothing. Okay. I guess. All right, let's check out Venthyr. So Venthyr has Slaughter. Now, we probably won't be able to test this. We did get a new build for the beta today, so I am actually going to still go out to Revendreth and see if these abilities are available now. But this one is called Slaughter. It's instant, takes 50 energy, and requires stealth. It says slaughter the target, causing 1,200 physical damage. The target's anima mixes with your lethal poison, coating your weapons for the next 5 minutes. Slaughter poison deals shadow damage over 12 seconds and steals 15% of healing done to the target. And it awards 2 combo points. So for reference, I've been saying this at the beginning of every stream, in Shadowlands with the level squish, 500 to 1,000 damage is about your average hit that we're seeing in most of these tooltips. Anything below 500 is kind of on the weak side. Anything from like 1,000 to 1,500 hits decently hard. So this being at 1,200, this does put it on the higher side of kind of a normal non-cooldown ability. So it's fairly strong in terms of the damage that it does. Now, so for this one, we are getting an ability that we can cast for 50 energy and get some combo points out of, and it's doing a decent chunk of damage. But the big thing here is that it's going to coat your weapons with anima, mixing anima with your lethal poison for 5 minutes. And what this does is this gives you slaughter poison, which deals shadow damage over 12 seconds and will steal healing done to the target. So already, if we look, let's see if we can jump in here. We have our poisons. So it looks like, you know, I believe this is probably going to be a, we'll have to see if it's a replacement or if it's on top of our deadly poison. And then over here for Maldraxis, the Necrolords, we have Serrated Bone Spike. Yeah, I did test this one out. It's pretty fun. This is 10 energy, instant cast with a 30-second recharge. It says embed a bone spike in the target, dealing 761 bleed damage every 3 seconds until they die. Deals 761 damage and generates 1 combo point per active bone spike. This will refund 1 charge when the target dies or is healed to full. So basically, you put one of these out on a target, it stays there until they die, and when they do die, you get a charge back. However, if you were to put, you can put 3 of these out on a target. There are 3 charges available, and it'll do the increased damage and generate extra combo points. However, when the target dies, you still only get refunded 1 charge, and you have to wait for the others to recharge. So you can dump all these onto a single target for like maximum damage output or combo generation, but then you have to wait for the charges to come back up. Whereas if you kind of spread these out and sort of multi-dot with these, then you put one on a different one on different targets, then you're going to be able to get all those charges back basically simultaneously as like everything dies, if that's what you want to do. So it's weird that we don't have the Night Fae one. I wonder if that is a thing for this build, if that's a thing specific for Rogue. I imagine it's just something specific to Rogue. So we'll see. We'll check things out. Okay, so we're going to go first over to Revendreth and see if we can use the ability there. And we'll test out Assassination while we're there, whether we can or not, since we only have 2 abilities to test, or 3 abilities potentially to test anyway. LSHFWC. I'm gonna call you LS. Says, yo, I've recently discovered your channel while looking for guides because I just got into WoW. Been loving the content. Awesome. Well, I'm glad to have you here on the channel, and thanks for hopping into the stream and hanging out. Cass says, OMG, I must have this pop figure. Well, you got me on Discord. Message me your address, and I'll send it to you as a birthday present. How about that? For real. Like, for real. Do it. And I'll send it to you. But, you know, message me. Not the whole Discord. Okay, so let's talk about what Rogue has changed, what the changes are for Shadowlands. So first off, we have a bunch of abilities that are available across all rogues now. And this is something that is a common theme throughout Shadowlands. You're going to have a bunch of abilities that are available for all specs of a given class, including some things that have sort of returned or been unpruned. Okay, we do not have the... Oh, Slaughter. See your trainer. What? 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 Okay. That wasn't there before, so that's an improvement, I guess. That's also weird. Oh, well. Well, I'm going to do a stream where I come back around and just look at all the Venthyr abilities, and that's when we'll take a look at that. Okay, so, like I was saying, some of these abilities have been unpruned. In the case of Rogue, we have the return of poisons to all specializations. So now poisons are back, and I believe crippling poison, deadly poison, and numbing poison are back across the board. So crippling poison is going to coat your weapons for 1 hour. And the buff here is that they will have a 50% chance to slow enemy movement speed by 60% for 12 seconds. So this is your sort of crowd control style CC crippling, poison that works pretty effectively in like PvP. It's got some small applications in like open world content, but you're not really going to use this one compared to this one here in the middle, which we'll get to in just a second. We also have numbing poison. So once again, this coats your weapons for an hour. Each strike has a 50% chance of poisoning the enemy, clouding their mind, and slowing their attack and casting speed by 15% for 10 seconds. So even this one is a little bit better than crippling poison when it comes to open world content anyway, because, reducing the attack speed and cast speed of your opponent slows them down. It keeps them from dealing as much damage to you, which is something you want to be doing when you are a rogue. On the more offensive side of things, we've got deadly poison. This coats your weapons for an hour. It says each strike has a 50% chance to poison the enemy for 825 nature damage over 12 seconds. Subsequent poison applications will instantly deal 93 nature damage. So usually this is the one you're going to be using for the extra damage output on your rogue, but you do have those other options available. Along with the poisons, we also have Shiv available baseline to all rogues. So Shiv is an ability that is instant cast, costs 20 energy, and has a 25-second cooldown. It says attack with your poisoned blades, dealing 4 physical damage and applying a concentrated form of your numbing poison, dispelling all enrage effects. Okay? It says your nature damage done against the target is increased by 20% for 9 seconds. Now, the big thing here is that Shiv will apply your numbing poison, and it increases nature damage, which your deadly poison damage is nature-based. So this is one of the reasons you kind of go with the deadly poison anyway, is because as you are playing, you throw out your Shiv, you get the numbing poison effect, but you also boost the damage of your deadly poison on the target. So those are the baseline abilities. We do have another change here for Pickpocket. This says Pickpocket will frequently uncover new ingredients that can be mixed into the Crimson Vial ability that we have, augmenting its power the next time the rogue drinks it. Now, I've pickpocketed a few things on beta, and I haven't found anything that works with this. So we'll do some pickpocketing and see if maybe we can find something that we can mix into our Crimson Vial. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I think this is a very flavorful and interesting change to pickpocket, and gives you an incentive to actually get out there and pick some pockets. So we'll try it out and see if we can find anything. So that's what's going on with rogues as a whole. Most of the other stuff that's available here we had available anyway. Maybe Slice and Dice. That's available to all rogues as a combo finisher. We've got our Ambush, all of our CC stuff, Crimson Vial, Envenom finisher. We've got our defensive abilities and CC stuff. So a lot of stuff available to rogues kind of across the board. Like 2 full pages, I think, might be the most I've seen for any of the classes so far. And then we pop over here to Assassination. You'll notice like this is a pretty short page because there aren't a ton of skills and abilities that are specific to Assassination. So we're going to jump in and we're going to look at Assassination changes. So Shiv in general is going to be stronger for Assassination. So the poisons are going to be stronger, and they're going to apply to blades faster than other rogues, always infecting targets when attacking from stealth. So this change is specific to Assassination all on its own. Next, we have Toxic Blade, which I believe should be a talent. Let's dive in and check it out. I don't see Toxic Blade in here. Where are we at? Wowhead, what are you talking about? Okay, well, I don't see Toxic Blade. It is listed as a talent. Maybe it's out of date. Looks like it probably is. Okay. And then we have Blindside right here. Blindside has been revised. So this says it gives the assassin a chance to access ambush even while out of stealth, with a higher chance on low health targets. So right here, Mutilate has a 20% chance to make your next ambush free and usable without stealth. Chance increased to 40% if the target is under 35% health. And if you hit something under 35% health with a Mutilate followed by an ambush, they're probably dead. So that is pretty solid stuff. I'm checking to see if I can find the one that they were mentioning. Nope. Okay. So those are the major changes to Assassination, and nothing too crazy. Assassination already was all about the poisons. So we're going to throw those poisons on. We've got, you know, a tweaked talent here, but for the most part, it looks like everything is pretty much going the same way. I'll see if I can remember what I'm doing here on Assassination. So we do have our passives. Venomous Wound says you regain 7 energy each time your garrote, rupture, or internal bleeding deal bleed damage to a poisoned target. If an enemy dies while afflicted by your rupture, you regain energy based on its remaining duration. Seal Fate, when you critically strike with a melee attack that generates combo points, you gain an additional combo point per critical strike. Our Mastery increases the damage done by your poisons and bleeds. And Improved Poisons says increases the application chance of your poisons by 20%. Poisons are applied to your weapons 33% faster. While Stealth is active, your attacks have a 100% chance to apply your lethal and non-lethal poisons. Now, in the case of poisons, our lethal poison, the only one we currently have, is Deadly Poison. Our non-lethal poisons would be Crippling and Numbing Poison. So let's go find a couple of enemies and do some assassination stuff. Looks like we have a druid doing a little bit of combat over there. We'll go out the gate. There's some tougher enemies right outside the gate. We'll also see if we can pickpocket anything. Yeah, really, Cass. Really, really. Okay, so we're going to go up. We're going to get our ambush in, right? We're going to garrote. And then we are mutilating up for combo points. And then usually we want to rupture for like a bleed. And then we will want to generate some more combo points. And then at this point, we could start putting them into Envenom. And if our garrote comes off, we want to put that back up. And if for whatever reason our rupture comes off, we'll want to put that back up as well. But normally we'll have a target dead before then. So pretty standard stuff. This is what you're doing already in BFA. Nothing too crazy has changed here. So ambush, garrote, mutilate, rupture, mutilate, mutilate, envenom, dead. Good times. I mean, that combat flow feels pretty good at the moment. Add-ons, we want to do auto loot. Just because I compulsively loot anyway, so we might as well. A little bit of lag here. Yep, that's pretty brutal. I think that's as far as we need to deep dive into into Assassination. Not a whole lot going on there. We could check out Blindside real quick and just see how that plays, since that's something that's been reworked a little bit. But I think if we're gonna do that, I need to throw ambush. Just throw ambush onto the bar here somewhere so we can hit that if we get the proc for it. So our mutilate has a 20% chance to let us cast ambush for free outside of combat, or outside of stealth. So let's go over here. Just give this a shot. All right, so ambush, garrote, mutilate, rupture, mutilate, mutilate, and dead. So no procs that time. There we go. We got boom. That's a pretty chunky hit. Now, proc chance seems a little on the low side right now. This guy's got a lot more health. And there's so much lag, I'm probably gonna die. There we go. This lag is fun. Okay, so looking at that, I wanted to check. We did have our Shiv, which we weren't using at all in there. So Shiv, I mean, we can just kind of like throw that into the rotation, maybe in place of like one of the mutilates after we've got our ruptures sort of figured out there. See if we can find another target and mix that in. Oh, here's one. So ambush, garrote, mutilate, rupture, Shiv, mutilate, ambush, or don't. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't feel too bad. That's the one thing I like about Rogue, is I always feel like I get into this flow where I am like just going from one enemy to the next, like pretty consistently, just kind of flowing from one to the other. This lag is killing me. What the heck? Okay, so that's Assassination. Pretty much straight up what it was in BFA. So we're going to hearth back, and we're going to head to a different zone and check out another spec for Assassination Rogue. Or for a Rogue. Man, my brain. I had a super boring last couple of hours of work today. Just sitting around basically staring at a wall. So I'm trying to wake up from that. All right, next we're going to check out Subtlety. Save my favorite rogue spec for last. All right, and for this one, we will go over to Maldraxis, and we will check out the Necrolord Covenant ability. All right. Could just what is going on? There it is. Did I just totally miss that when I looked that direction? I may have. All right. Okay, so let's get in and talk about what is new with the Subtlety Rogue. So Subtlety has a couple of things going on here. So first off, we have Find Weakness as a new passive. This is previously a talent. It says your attacks from stealth reveal a flaw in your target's defenses, causing all of your attacks to bypass 30% of that enemy's armor for 18 seconds. That is actually pretty sick for just a default passive. And it looks like there might be some other synergies here as well, which we'll get into. So we have Find Weakness, and then we have Rupture returning as a damage over time ability for Subtlety. This is a bleeding finishing move instead of the Nightblade ability that we currently have. However, we're still going to have access to movement speed reduction and healing reduction through the wound and crippling poisons. So instead of using Nightblade as a finishing move, which I personally was never a huge fan of, we're now just going to straight up like Rupture, bleed people out. That's what we were just using in Assassination for the bleeds there. And we're going to gain that movement speed reduction, stuff like that from our regular poisons. All right, and we have a few different talents and things here as well. We've got an ability here, a new one called Shadow Vault. So this is a finishing move, costs 35 energy, uses 1 to 5 combo points. It says finishing move that leaps you into the air. Spray shuriken at up to 8 nearby targets, dealing physical damage. Targets with your Find Weakness suffer an additional 50% damage as Shadow. So Find Weakness lasting for 18 seconds. That's pretty long if you can build into a nice little combo. And then you're looking at a 5-point combo here doing about 300 damage as a finisher. That... yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you really care about that. Like maybe in a multi-target situation, you know, you're hitting for that low kind of damage, but I feel like you're probably just going to want to use Rupture, right? Is that our... well, we have Rupture, and then we have... we do have, like, Eviscerate. Yeah, this is a little bit better here. So, Eviscerate for Subtlety has this little extra line here that says targets with Find Weakness suffer an additional 50% damage as Shadow. So this is definitely the much better single target finishing move to use compared to Shadow Vault. So Shadow Vault is like you want to do some damage to everything around you with your finishing move, but we're still just going to be doing Eviscerate. I think it's a little bit weird how so much of the Rogue toolkit is over in their actual just Rogue tab as opposed to Subtlety. I don't know. I actually kind of wonder if, like, as a new player, like, I'm going to want to look in here and be like, these are the tools that I use for Subtlety. But, like, if you were to do that, then right here, you would think your only two finishing moves were Rupture and Shadow Vault, which is definitely not the case. Rupture, you're still going to want to, like, get that off and get that bleed going on your target for sure. But after you Rupture one time, you're moving into, like, a different finisher, and I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, is that how, like, you would get into stuff? Is you'd go, oh, okay, these are my Subtlety moves. I'm Subtlety now. This is what I'm supposed to do. Maybe that's just the thinking from having it been so spec specific for the past couple of expansions. But in reality here, we have Eviscerate and Kidney Shot, both available as finishing moves, as well as Slice and Dice. So there are a lot more options for finishing moves. And I guess what I think is weird here is that Eviscerate is such a critical one. I could kind of see Kidney Shot or Slice and Dice being in here because they're more like utility. But Eviscerate is just straight up like a part of the core of what you're doing. Okay, so now we're going to just kind of roll through our normal stuff. We're going to roll up in Shadow Strike. This is going to deal some damage. Let us appear behind our target and deal an additional 25% damage, as well as award 2 combo points. We're going to build up those points into a Rupture. Then we're going to build up those points into an Eviscerate if we have a single target, or into a Shadow Vault if we have multiple targets. If we have multiple targets, then we're using Shuriken Storm instead of Backstab to generate combo points. And I mean, that's pretty much it. I think there's enough of a change there that, like, the names are different, but I think effectively it still is going to play relatively similar to the way it does now. We do also have some changes to Shadow Dance. So Shadow Dance now, let's see. Really? Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. Shadow Dance has a 1-minute cooldown. It says allows the use of all stealth abilities and grants all the combat benefits of stealth for 8 seconds and increases damage by 30%. The effect is not broken from taking damage or attacking. Movement speed while it's active is increased by 20%, and damage dealt is increased by 12%. So this was tweaked a little bit from its current form, but effectively it just lets you use stealth abilities for 8 seconds every minute. All right, let's go find some enemies and just kind of roll through this, and then we're going to check out the Covenant ability as well. So we'll add this here. And we'll throw this. That's fine. Man, there's some bad lag on the servers today. All right, so we're going to use our Shadow Strike. Right. And then we're going to build up combo points with our Backstab here until we can get a Rupture. We're going to build up again. And then typically we would Eviscerate. But we have the lower level mobs out here in Maldraxis today, so they're not going to stand up to that much damage. So Shadow Strike. And just go straight into a Rupture. All right, we're going to build up. Eviscerate. Build up. Eviscerate again. There we go. So pretty standard stuff. Like I said, if we had multiple targets, we would use Shuriken Storm. And then we could also Shadow Vault on multiple targets. Now, the thing to show off here is the Necrolory Covenant ability. So this is the Bone Spike. So it's going to put a spike into a target. It's going to deal 725 damage and every 3 seconds until they die. This is also going to generate a combo point for us. So if we just use it one time here, we Shadow Strike, we throw the Bone Spike in, right? We get up to our Rupture, then we're going to just kind of roll this out. And I mean, that's kind of substantially sped up the DPS that we were doing, and we're back up to 3 charges. Now, if we wanted to go over here and fight this guy, and let's say dump like all 3 Bone Spikes in, then we could do that. Let's get a Rupture. Let's throw the other spike in there. And that guy died super fast, but you'll notice we only got 1 charge back. So we have to wait the full 30 seconds per charge to get the rest of them back. Which is still okay, I think, because you get the one right away, so you always have one that you can use on the next enemy, like as soon as you need to. What just happened there? I feel like there's someone else here, and just I can't see it because of lag. Either that, or we just did some massive damage. So, yeah, I don't feel that it's wrong to go ahead and throw those 3 Bone Spikes into a tough enemy, because when they die, you will still get one of them back. And as long as you have the one, I mean, you're pretty much good. Like, as soon as the enemy dies, you get that charge right back. So, I don't know. I really like this ability. It's one of my favorite abilities for the rogue, and just in general. Like, instant combo generation, does a nice chunk of damage, really, really helps you to keep the momentum up as you're fighting enemies. And especially on something like a rare spawn or something with a lot of health, I think putting those 3 Bone Spikes in is actually going to be pretty nice. So, Subtlety, I mean, that's the flow that you've got going on for Subtlety. I think it's pretty solid as well. Like I said, most of these rotations for Rogue are pretty similar to BFA, so I think ultimately, you know, Covenant class ability choice might play into it a little bit, but also we're going to have to look at legendary effects and conduits and soulbinds and that kind of stuff to get a better idea of how this is going to compare to, say, BFA with, you know, Azerite powers and essences and corruption effects and stuff. Okay. Let's see. We have a flight path right over here, so we'll fly back to town. Maybe, if the flight path shows up. I think we're gonna exit out here and go back in. Maybe this will help with the lag. Sometimes it does. Also, just making a new character will help reset the lag sometimes too. But we will switch over to Outlaw and we'll go over to Bastion and check out the Kyrian ability. Cass says, not sure about placement of spells, but I also lean on the talents for the special things that each spec can do. Okay, so apparently no Flight Master. You gotta love beta. Yeah, I'm not crazy, and I'm not missing it. Woo, look at that lag. All right, so what we'll do instead is we will exit out and we'll just make a new rogue and go over and try Outlaw, because at the current moment, I don't have a Hearthstone or anything to get back into town. And with no flight path up, I mean, I can't really go anywhere, so we'll just make another rogue. I did like the Pandaren rogue. It was pretty fun. You guys, don't forget to like the video if you're enjoying the stream, if you're enjoying the deep dives. We already kind of have the rest of the deep dives laid out in terms of what's going to be next. Let's try... Let's be a giant Coltiran rogue. That seems silly enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there we go. Big roguey. All right, so we're going to check out Outlaw. There were some fairly significant changes to Outlaw, but overall it still plays the same as it does in BFA. We just have a little bit more to talk about over here. Okay, so we don't need to worry about like picking a covenant. We've already kind of gone through and looked at the covenant abilities that were available, so we're just going to head straight over to Bastion. Actually, make sure we're Outlaw, and along the way we'll talk about what's changed for Outlaw. This big circle, sometimes, I don't know. I just need to start associating the gates with where they're positioned on the minimap. So Bastion is to the east. All right, so Outlaw Rogue. What do we have? Okay, so first off, Roll the Bones. Roll the Bones no longer has a combo point requirement, so you can now just roll the bones. And this is something that I think is pretty nice, because having to build up your combo points to roll the bones to then build up your combo points to do anything, I think felt really awkward on Outlaw, especially when you were out doing open world content. It felt like you almost had to take one enemy and use that as your enemy to roll the bones. And then once you had rolled the bones, then you could start actually playing as Outlaw Rogue against the other enemies that were around. And then at a certain point, your buffs from Roll the Bones would drop off and you'd have to go, okay, this guy, I'm going to get Roll the Bones going with him, max it out, do a 5 combo so it'll last as long as possible. In between things. So now Roll the Bones no longer requires the combo points, so you can just cast Roll the Bones as soon as you want to. It does cost 50 energy still, so it is going to take a huge chunk of your energy that's available to cast Roll the Bones. And according to Wowhead, I have to see this in the tooltip where this is at. But Roll the Bones has a modifiable cooldown that can be manipulated to line up with finishing moves. So we will we'll check that out and kind of get into that, because I think this is the thing that's going to have the biggest impact on playing Outlaw in Shadowlands versus BFA, right? Because Roll the Bones is such a big deal. And if you don't roll the bones, it doesn't even feel like you're playing a class. In my opinion, you're like, man, why is this? What is going on? And then you roll the bones and you're like, oh, okay, I get it. Okay. Also, why are we missing so many abilities on our bar? Like, what is going on here? Like, normally these come set up, but I switched to Outlaw and it's like, you know what? Nah, you don't need Between the Eyes. No one cares about that. Roll the Bones? Nah, you don't need that either. Like, so we're going to have to set up our action bars a little bit, I guess. Okay, so roll the bones. We went over that. So Restless Blades. Okay, here we go. This is it says finishing moves. Reduce the remaining cooldown of Adrenaline Rush, Between the Eyes, Blade Flurry, Grappling Hook, Roll the Bones, Sprint, and Vanish by 1 second per combo point spent. So that's where we get the cooldown reduction on Roll the Bones. So I imagine on an average enemy, you're putting maybe 10 combo points into them. So if you roll the bones and you get those 10 combo points in, you're going to reduce this down to a 35-second cooldown, which then turns it into something you're using maybe like every other fight or so. And this also puts it more in line with the time limit here. So I imagine over the span of 30 seconds, you're probably going to get the Roll the Bones cooldown down to around 30 seconds. So you should be able to have a Roll the Bones buff up pretty much constantly, is what I would think here. We have Kidney Shot returning to the Outlaw toolkit because it's part of one of the abilities that all rogues get. Something I actively do not like at all is change to Between the Eyes. So Between the Eyes no longer stuns targets, which is something that made it so beautiful and so useful for Outlaw Rogue, and I'm really, really sad to see that go. So now Between the Eyes costs 25 energy. It uses 1 to 5 combo points, is instant with a 45-second cooldown. It increases your critical strike chance and critical strike damage against the target by 20%. Critical strikes with this ability deal 4 times normal damage. Okay? But you no longer get a stun. And yeah, I don't know. I hate this change. I really liked having the stun with Between the Eyes. I think it just feels like such a good ability. I don't know. It always felt awesome to press Between the Eyes when you had Chum the Waters or whatever the buff was, the Roll the Bones buff for Between the Eyes. It always felt awesome. And it'll still feel awesome because it'll deal like a huge amount of damage if you have the buff up. But not getting the stun, I think, is just kind of a dent to Outlaw's survivability a little bit. All rogues have evasion now, so we've got that available on Outlaw as well. And then we have a couple changes to some talents here. So first off, we have Retractable Hook. This will reduce the cooldown of Grappling Hook by 15 seconds and increase its retraction speed. So a little modification there. And then the other one, I don't see it here. Yeah. So maybe it's been tweaked since then. Okay. So getting into Outlaw, we're doing the same thing we're doing in BFA for the most part. So if we look at our passives, we've got the one that reduces cooldowns on a bunch of various abilities here. We have our Mastery. It says your main hand attacks have a 30% chance to trigger an attack with your offhand that deals a moderate amount of damage. We have Combat Potency, increases your energy regeneration rate by 35%, and your offhand attacks have a 75% chance to generate 10 energy. And finally, we have Ruthlessness. Your finishing moves have a 20% chance per combo point spent to grant a combo point. Now, as far as what's in our kit, we still have Adrenaline Rush, Blade Flurry as kind of our big... Well, Blade Flurry gives us a little bit of AoE. Adrenaline Rush is our big sort of offensive pump steroid spell. We've got Between the Eyes for big damage, big crits. We've got Dispatch as just kind of our standard single target finishing move when we don't have Between the Eyes off of cooldown to use, or we're not wanting to use something else. Looks like we need to switch out our weapons here as well. So let's do that real quick. We've got Gouge for Incapacitate. We've got our Grappling Hook, so that still does what it does. And we still have Pistol Shot, and we still have Sinister Strike. And the synergy between those two is still there. So Sinister Strike will generate combat points for us, and it has a 45% chance to hit an additional time making your next pistol shot half cost and double damage. So that synergy is still totally there, which is a big part of playing Outlaw, is getting those fun like pistol shots off. And that is pretty much it. So between the normal Outlaw kit, the change to Between the Eyes with the no stun in there, and the change to Roll the Bones, that's really what you're looking at, along with, you know, the additional abilities that all rogues have access to now. And I think these guys we could probably pickpocket. So we'll see if we can find something for our Crimson Vial, something we can mix in there. Yeah, this is super weird. Like, Slaughter should not be showing up as an ability that we learn. Yeah, so there's some kind of bug there. Actually, I should report that. There's the window. In the Spielbook. Spellbook. Okay, and along the way, we're going to try out this Kyrian ability, which is the weird echoing reprimand one. So, first, well, we need to put stuff on our bars. I forgot. There's a bunch of stuff that they left off here. So, we need to go ahead and get our instant poison. Right, and then we're going to add Between the Eyes in here as a finishing move. We're going to throw Roll the Bones in there. So we're going to want to do that for sure. Everything else is in there. Let's see. Not super worried about any of the rest of these, so I think we can just move these down. That should work for now, and then when we are stealth, we have ambush as our main thing that we're doing here. All right, let's go pick some pockets. No pockets to pick. You guys don't have pockets? Well, I guess I was wrong. We can't pick any pockets here. Fine. All right, well, let's try our stuff out on this big guy here. So we're going to ambush. And we're going to Sinister Strike, build up some combo points. At some point, we roll the bones in here, and we got True Bearing. So finishing moves are going to reduce the cooldown of our abilities. So we want to kind of build up and use as many finishing moves as we can while we have this buff up. So let's go ahead and just jump in. Still have the buff, so let's use a finishing move there. Now, there's no reason not to use Between the Eyes here. Like, normally you kind of want to hold Between the Eyes for... Yeah, so we've got Roll the Bones. Again, same thing here. So we can just Between the Eyes. So the thing with this is, like, now that we know that we can't just re-roll Roll the Bones constantly like we could in BFA, there's no reason not to hold on or not to go ahead and use Between the Eyes. And I guess what I'm trying to say there is, I know for my part, when I in BFA, I would try to hold Between the Eyes for when I had the Chum the Waters buff or whatever it's called. I can't remember. But in this case, it's going to be 30 seconds until you can roll the bones again. Whereas before, you could kind of like just do your standard combo point stuff. And then try to roll the bones into something that was actually usable with whatever ability you were trying to highlight. So this time we got Grand Melee, gaining 2 seconds, and disappeared. Gain 2 seconds of Slice and Dice per combo point spent, and then Skull and Crossbones. Sinister Strike has a 30% additional chance of striking in extra time. So let's go in here, and if we spend some combo points, that's going to give us Slice and Dice, which we could use against all these targets. And we could do this again. All right, and here's a scenario where we have a couple of seconds of Roll the Bones where we have nothing. So there we go. Ruthless Precision. That's what we wanted. So normally, right, I would have saved up these combo points for Ruthless Precision and then just boom. So, I mean, you can kind of get the flow. Like, ideally, you are spending your combo points and getting Roll the Bones cooldown down a little bit lower before the buff is off so that you can recast it again and get a different buff. Like I said, this does mean that you can't just recast Roll the Bones if you get a bad buff. For example, if I had done Roll the Bones there and Between the Eyes was at the start of its 45-second cooldown and I had just gotten Ruthlessness, that's kind of a crap roll because I can't even use the ability associated with it. So previously, I might have wanted to spend some combo points and just tried to re-roll for a different buff that would be more effective at the time. But now I can't do that because I have to wait on the cooldown for Roll the Bones to actually finish before I can cast it again. So it's like upside downside, I think. What we're going to do now is check out Echoing Reprimand. Okay, so we're going to deal some damage, extract an Anima Charge combo point, and then damaging finishing moves that consume the same number of combo points are going to hit as if they consumed 7 points. So we're going to try to put all this together here, right? So we're going to ambush, then we'll do our Echoing Reprimand. So this looks like 4 combo points. So I think we want to... Let's roll the bones. So we want to try to generate 4 combo points and then hit for like a 7 combo point combo there. And it looks like once we did that, it looks like it spent it. Interesting. It's weird. So we're going to try it again when it comes off cooldown. Oh man, lots of chat to check up with. Colterian equals Outlaw Rogue. That's the law. Or Goblin. Cass actually wants a Colterian Rogue. Well, you're getting to see at least the male version in action. This is a really pretty rock. Sorry, but yeah, this is a pretty rock. Roll the Bones might be my favorite ability in the game. I'm a big fan of Roll the Bones too. I like the like moderate RNG style stuff. As a card game player, I just like kind of appreciate that. And board game player, so Roll the Bones is, you know, right up my alley. All right, so we're gonna Roll the Bones here, generate some combo points, and we got Sinister Strike has an additional chance. Yeah, I mean, like, there's so much going on right now with Outlaw. Like, okay, so I've got this buff, so I want to do this stuff, but then I built enough combo points that I need to cast this, but at the same time, I got the proc for pistol shot, and like, it's like, ugh. And with these particular enemies, since they die so quickly, it's like I don't even get to finish my train of thought before I'm like, oh, I guess we're done. So here I might spend some combo points to reduce Roll the Bones. And then let's cast Roll the Bones, and we got Ruthless Precision, so we're almost done here. Slap that out. All right, so we're going to try this weird combo point thing again, but we're going to find a big guy to do it on. Here we go. All right, here we go. So we're going to ambush, Echoing Reprimand. We've got 3 points. Let's go ahead and spend. We're at 3. So now if we hit this, it should hit like a 7. I don't like, at least for Outlaw, I feel like that adds something else that I don't need. On top of everything else that's going on. Like, maybe I don't quite need that. And maybe I just want to stick with the like Necrolord one or something. Also, y'all yell at me to turn this sound back on. I keep keep muting it to avoid the bad sounds, but then I'm forgetting to turn it on for the good ones. So that's totally my bad. You guys can yell at me. Oh, rapid fire and bursting shot. Report the stun missing as a bug. Maybe it's worth doing that. Like, hey, this should be here. When you're a big rogue, they see you before you can pick pockets. No, they just don't have pockets. I want to pick someone's pockets. There's like a little boss character down there. Let's go and we'll fight that and see if we can maybe use this combo point thingy more than once in a single go. Because I kind of want to try that out. All right, so this one has 19,000 health. There we go. That's a little bit better. So let's ambush. Let's get roll of bones. We got the Sinister Strike bonus here. Let's do the... I messed that up. I should have cast it when I needed to generate combo points. All right, so that hits for 7. Yeah, and it is just gone. Okay. So we get to use it the one time. It's weird. I don't hate it. I think it takes a little bit of getting used to. Sorry, little owl dude. I feel bad. Yeah, I don't hate this ability. So let's try it again here. All right, so we ambush, roll the bones. We got literally everything, so this guy is just gonna die right away. I'm not even gonna waste this ability on him. Wow, that's ridiculous. Oh, that was a beautiful roll the bones. Okay, so we'll try this again. There's another big guy over this way we can attack. I was not expecting that roll the bones. I was so surprised I didn't even do my rotation properly. I was just like, mash buttons. Man, do we even have is it off cooldown? I need to. Let's add this thing down here. Okay, looks like it's off cooldown, so I don't even care. We can mix it up and get some more people in here. So let's do ambush. What we don't want to do is we want to use that when we get the 3 combo points, and we're actually real solid. That hit for 1,200. Yeah, no, that's right. Okay, so weird. Let me catch up on chat and then we'll talk about this some more. Gamer Central says, just watched a pretty old video of yours on how to play Shadow Priest. It was really helpful. Well, that's good. It's good. I'm laughing because Priest is kind of a inside joke here on the channel with me. Not for any not for any bad reason. So it's just my least played class. All right. Cass, Cass, you're working for? I don't know. Just another Smith. Don't forget to thumbs up the stream. Thank you. Thanks for putting that out there. Size doesn't matter. Aw, still looking for work, Cass? That's unfortunate. Alright, so we just go ahead and spin these, hit this, we land it on 2, we spin it again, we pistol shot, and then we can do a big chunky... Are we... Okay, we don't get the cooldown reduction on Echoing Reprimand. It's an interesting little... I don't know, I feel like... In a sense, I'm kind of playing suboptimally to get the benefit of this ability. I'll show you what I mean when it comes back around. Alright, let's find another big guy. Is the boss back? No. Do we have another big enemy down here somewhere? What's the health here? 7,000. Yeah, that's not very big. I need to find some stronger enemies. Maybe we need to go further into the zone. That way. So guys, at this point, the rogue deep dive is basically done. I'm just kind of messing around with this this ability, because I can't figure out if I like it or not. I know I like the Necrolord one, and I think I don't know. I was thinking of going Venthyr for my rogue, but I do like that Necrolord ability quite a bit, so that might sway me to Necrolord instead. And I don't think I'm going to go Kyrian on my rogue. Like, the chance is super duper slim, but I do still want to figure out if I like this ability or not. I don't know where we're going. I haven't really explored these zones, kind of intentionally avoided them. But I'm kind of just looking for something that has a little bit more health. Maybe I can find a rare spawn. Something along those lines. I know there are some target dummies in places too. Huh. There's like a bell over there. It just feels like they don't have enough enemies in this zone. As weird as that is to say, this is... it's maybe all the zones feel a little underpopulated based on what I've seen. I am kind of following the road, but I'm so worried about the verticality of this terrain that I don't want to get stuck somewhere. We're back to just foxes again. Whatever. 5,000 health, that's even worse. What about you guys? What do you have? 6,000. Not good enough. What about you? 20,000. There we go. That's what we want. Let's do it. Or a Wraith. I don't want to pull two of you, I don't think. Hey, you got any pockets? You got any of them pockets? Can I sap that guy? Nope. Alright, we'll just attack this dude, like, right around here. Okay, so we're gonna try this out. See if this guy... Does he have pockets? No, we just got lag. Okay, great. I come all the way out here, and then I just get lagged out so that I can't do anything, or by the time it lags back in, I'm gonna die. Look at this. I'm not doing anything. Out of range. That's probably for the pickpocket. No pockets to pick. Okay. Can we do this now? No? Alright, ambush. Alright, let's generate some combo points so we are over. So then we hit him with that. Yeah, that felt like hot garbage. Yeah, get him with those lag hits. Lag hits. Do it. Do it. Yep. I just got disconnected. Okay, well, we got the Rogue Showcase in. That was kind of a weird way to end it, but overall, like, Rogue feels pretty much the same as BFA. There's some changes there. I don't necessarily think that they're super great or super bad. They're just changes. Should name a rogue Pockets. Raka. I appreciate that F. F for disconnect. Oh, man. All right, we're going to Death Knight it up, and we're going to do one of these weird allied race Death Knights. Oh, Dark Iron Dwarf is in. Hooray. Hooray. I'm pumped about that. Nice. They weren't in before. There we go. I guess we're going to do a Dark Iron Dwarf Death Knight, even though that's not what I intend to make, like, at all. All right, Shorty DK. Oh, God. This is not Death Knight armor. All right, so, like we just did with our Rogue, we're going to jump in and check out the changes to Death Knight. As far as I know, there aren't really a lot of changes for Death Knight, but I am going to link out the Wowhead article that has those changes for you in chat, in case you want to check it out yourself and follow along. And I am interested to check out the Covenant abilities, because I don't think that I really bothered with them when I played very briefly on Death Knight previously on the beta. I can't even jump on the table. I'm so short. All right, so it looks like we are Frost with a two-hander. So that's something that's changed, and that's going to be interesting. I think I'm more dual wield Frost, I think, but we're gonna try two-handed Frost anyway, just because I haven't played it ever. Maybe, I don't know. I always played Blood for the most part. When two-handed Frost was available, I played Blood. Okay, so we have Shackle the Unworthy. Oh yeah, I did check out the Necrolord Decay ability, which is interesting. Okay, Shackle the Unworthy, instant cast, 1 minute cooldown, admonish your target for their past transgressions, reducing the damage they deal to you by 5% and dealing arcane damage over 14 seconds. While Shackle the Unworthy is active on an enemy, rune spending attacks reduce its cooldown by 4 seconds. That's a pretty good amount of damage, but it's also over 14 seconds, which is pretty long. Right, over on the Night Face side, we have Death's Due. So this is kind of like Death and Decay. It's 1 rune, instant cast, 30-second cooldown, corrupts the targeted ground, causing 418 shadow damage over 10 seconds to targets within the area, which is basically nothing in terms of damage. Enemies damage, at least over that period of time, enemies damage deal 1% reduced damage to you, up to a maximum of 15%, and their power is transferred to you as an equal amount of strength. While you remain within the area, your Scourge strike will hit all enemies near the target. So that functionality is the same as Death and Decay, basically. Enemies damaged deal 1% reduced damage to you, up to a maximum of 15%. But how do you get to 15%? Is it per enemy hit? Is it per time that the enemy is hit? Yeah, it doesn't seem super clear. Now, we know we can't test the Venthyr one, but we might be able to read it. So let's go and read it. Swarming Mist, 1 rune, instant cast, 1 minute cooldown. A heavy mist surrounds you for 8 seconds, increasing your dodge by 10%. This deals 222 shadow damage every 1 second to enemies within 10 yards. For 8 seconds, so you're getting about 1600 damage over 8 seconds, which is pretty good. It's decent damage, and 8 seconds isn't too bad. Every time it deals damage, you gain 3 runic power, up to a maximum of 15 runic power. So if you are hitting multiple enemies, you're getting way more runic power. You're also pumping out quite a bit of damage. Seems like a really solid AoE ability. Even single target, that's not awful. It's not amazing, but it's not awful either. And then over on the Necrolord side, we have Abomination Limb. Instant cast with a 2-minute cooldown. Man, I love this. Oh, this armor set just looks good on everything. Oh, yeah, something plate is going Necrolord. That's all I know. Okay, so instant cast, 2-minute cooldown with a 20-yard range. It says sprout an additional limb for 12 seconds. Every 1 second, it deals 249 shadow damage to all nearby enemies and pulls an enemy to your location if they are further than 8 yards from you. It's a pretty cool spell. So we are going to try out... let's go back over to Bastion and give that a shot with Frost. Now, I don't normally do this, but I don't think I can go out there and Decay. Oh, they changed... Oh, they're not banners anymore. Y'all confusing me, okay? I'm looking for the red banner because I'm like, red banner, that's where Transmog is. And no, there's no And they moved the Transmog guy. Whoa, okay, weird. He was over there, so now he's over here. But yeah, I don't think I can go out there and Decay in this armor. We gotta at least change it to something like red. I don't even care if it looks amazing. Just, I can't get out there in this Alliance gear. It feels very not Decay. Yeah, that's better. I don't know. Let's also get rid of this dorky weapon. That's pretty sick looking. Oh, we got the Legion artifacts. Are we dual wielding? We're not dual wielding right now, are we? No. Oh, let's do this one. Do it. Spend my money. Why is it showing us as what? Wait, even though we're two-handed, we can show as... How does that work? I'm confused. I can... What? What? I mean, I get it. Frost Legion weapon was dual wield. That's just so weird that... That's just super weird. I mean, there's nothing else to add. It's super weird. Let's stick with the two-handed thing here. Just so we can actually see what the attack animations and stuff look like. That's really what I'm interested in. Okay, I feel a little bit less like a dork. Alright, let's get our butts over to Bastion. Bastion is to the west. Boom, look at me. I'm learning every day. Wow, on Night Fae. That was supposed to be a thing in Shadowlands on Legion weapons. Yeah, I just think it's weird that I can have a... Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. But you can transmog Holy Paladin artifact over one-handers, so... Yeah, I mean, whatever works. I personally want to see what the animations look like for Frost with a two-hander versus dual wield, because it's been dual wield for like at least 3 several expansions now. So I just kind of want to see how these like updated abilities and stuff look when you're swinging around a big chunky sword. All right. So we're going to check out what's new with Death Knights. So obviously we're going to have several abilities that are available to all Death Knights now across the board, regardless of specialization. So those are here. There are a bunch of new Rune Forges, which I think we need to pop back to Ebb and Hold in order to check those out. So if I remember... Oh, nope, they're here. Okay, so we have Rune of the Apocalypse. You know what? I ain't going over these right now. We're going to go over these later. They're not that, like... They're just not that big of a deal right now. So... we'll do them later. So let's go over the abilities that everyone has access to now. So everyone has access to Death and Decay. Wherever that's at. Don't lie to me, Wowhead. Okay, anti-magic zone, magic shell. So this is available across the board. So this is our 1 minute cooldown defensive ability that will prevent some magic damage. A pretty awesome ability to have in general. It's instant cast, and any damage you absorb is going to generate some runic power, which is pretty nice. We also have Lichborn as an ability. So this is new, I think. I don't remember using this. Maybe it might have been on one of the specializations I didn't play a bunch, like Unholy. So instant cast, 2 minute cooldown, draw upon Unholy energy to become undead for 10 seconds, increasing leech by 10% and making you immune to charm, fear, and sleep, which is pretty sweet. The increased leech probably be pretty nice. 10 seconds for 2 minutes. I don't know, seems a little more PvP or very specific PvE encounter specific. We also have Raised Dead, so this is something a little bit new for all of the Death Knights, and I think this functions a little bit differently on Unholy, but we'll check it out when we get there. At least for Blood and Frost for sure, this is instant cast with a 2 minute cooldown. It raises a ghoul to fight by your side. You can have a maximum of 1 ghoul at a time, but the ghoul only lasts for 1 minute. So it's not like we all have access to a ghoul now, but it's not a permanent ghoul. It's just a 1 minute ghoul. We also have access to Chains of Ice. So this is a CC ability. It costs 1 rune, shackles the target with frozen chains, reducing movement speed by 70% for 8 seconds. And then finally we have access to Sacrificial Pact. This is instant cast, 2 minute cooldown. It takes 20 runic power, and this lets you sacrifice your ghoul to deal 831 shadow damage to 8 nearby enemies and heal for 25% of your maximum health. So you can keep the ghoul out, and when it's about to go, you know, the 1 minute time frame is up, you could just sack it for some extra damage and a heal, or you can just pop Sacrificial Pact whenever you actually need the healing or damage output. Whatever makes sense, but I feel like you should almost always try to make sure that you are able to use Sacrificial Pact in a beneficial way to you when you're out there doing content. Instead of just letting the ghoul go off cooldown, but who knows? All right, now moving into Frost specifically. Why is this music so epic right now? It's kind of weird. So you can choose between 2 one-handed weapons or a 2-handed weapon, as you've seen by the fact that I have a 2-handed weapon equipped for Frost right now. We have Frostworm's Fury now as a baseline ability. So this is an instant cast 3-minute cooldown. It says summons a Frostworm who breathes on all enemies within 40 yards in front of you, dealing 4,300 frost damage and slowing movement speed by 50% for 10 seconds. This is a super dope ability, and even though it wasn't always the most optimal choice on the talent row that it was in, I would still pick it sometimes just because it looks so damn cool. So it's super awesome to be able to have this as a baseline ability that we can just huck out at people now. Big fan of getting this added here. And so obviously that was a talent, so we have a different talent now, a new one, Hypothermic Presence. This is instant cast, 45-second cooldown. Embrace the ice in your veins, reducing the runic power cost of your abilities by 35% for 8 seconds, and this does not trigger the global cooldown. So, not my kind of talent. I like flashy talents most of the time that do something or fit into a particular sort of build. Maybe there's a build here for this, but this is the new talent we have access to. Now, as far as everything else goes, you know, mainly we could just take a look at our passives here. We have our Death Strike after we kill something. We've still got that passive there. We still have Killing Machine. Your auto attack critical strikes have a chance to make your next Obliterate critically strike. We've got our Mastery, which increases the damage of our Frost abilities. We have Rhyme. Obliterate has a 45% chance to cause your next Howling Blast to consume no runes and deal 300% additional damage. And then we have Runic Empowerment. Each runic power you spend has a chance to instantly grant you a rune. So overall, we're still going to be doing the same things. We're going to go in, we're going to attack, we're going to want to Howling Blast so that we can get Frost Fever onto our targets. And then after that, we're going to want to hopefully get some auto attack critical strikes so that we can obliterate with the guaranteed critical. But if we can't, we're still going to obliterate stuff. And as we do, we're going to build up our runic power, and then we're going to spend that runic power on our Frost Strike along the way. We're going to hope that hitting that obliterate button gives us the free Howling Blast with the additional power boost there. If we need to heal, we've got our Death Strike if we need it. We also have our Death and Decay that we can put down, and we have Death Coil, which is another ability that all Death Knights have access to now. This does cost some runic power, so it's an alternate spender to Frost Strike, but this will either deal a little bit of shadow damage, or it will heal an undead ally for 2,700 health, which is a decent amount. So we got some more options. We just kind of have more buttons that we could potentially push if we wanted to. We also have our Raise Dead. We've got our Frostworm's Fury we can use in there. We could do our Sacrificial Pact. All that kind of good stuff. But for the most part, we're just doing this combo here, right? Into Obliterate, into Howling Blast. We can spend on a Frost Shock if we want to. Otherwise, Frost Shock, Frost Strike. Like, the flow is there. Took basically no damage. Didn't even look at the animations. That is a big, chunky hit. Oh, that feels good. That Obliterate animation is pretty sweet, actually. Big fan. Get over here. Oh, that guy just spawned out of nowhere. Let's get this Howling Winter going. Oh, I could barely see the effect. I was like waiting for it to kick in. All right. Now let's see, can we Death Coil ourselves? No, we can't. But I wonder if we use our little... Oh, where's it at? Lichborn. Pretty sure if we Lichborn, then we can heal ourselves. So wombo combo there, you know, 2 minutes, every 2 minutes you can wombo combo heal yourself. I don't think that's what we're doing, but you know, you can do that. So yeah, man, that obliterate animation looks good. So the curing ability we have here, Shackle the Unworthy. Admonish the target, reducing the damage they deal to you and dealing damage over 14 seconds. And while it's active, we're going to generate some runic power, which means we can spam the hell out of Frost Strike. So let's go down here. This thing is alive. It is, and let's do that. All right, so we're going to just admonish the target right away. Okay, so let's Frost Strike. Boom. I'm a little underwhelmed by the generation right now. Okay, we have to spend runes in order to generate. Got it. Okay. So really, yeah. As we cycle through, we get a little bit of extra runic power. Oh, okay. No, we don't. No, we don't. Rune spinning attacks reduce the cooldown. Okay, so we're basically off cooldown already, and that's a 1 minute cooldown, and we definitely did not spend a minute fighting that thing. Okay, got it. So, I mean, is there any reason? Like, let's admonish the target, right? Spin some runes. I mean, the main thing we actually want to do here is just kind of like flow back and forth with our rune spending abilities as much as possible, right? And only really spend runic power so that we don't cap. And then that way we've got our Shackle the Unworthy back. Boom. There we go. Throwing a Frost Strike just for fun. All right. Let's hit this guy. Spend a rune. Spend a rune. Keep spending those runes. Come on. Spend those runes. Okay, so we're like back off cooldown already. Okay. Got it. Got it. That's I like that. I like the type of abilities that just keep you chaining into more and more things. Like you're like the next enemy, the next enemy, the next enemy, the next enemy, and then you have to go back along this line of just dead stuff and loot everything. I like that sort of push. I like that push there to kind of just keep moving and keep pressing on. And that like slight like if I hesitate, it kind of screws things up. But if I can keep that flow going, it feels really good. So that's just with I was, you know, just the cooldown reduction aspect of that, like had me moving along, wanting to, you know, chain and chain and chain. But there's also just the damage, right? So there's the damage that it does over 14 seconds and the damage reduction by 5 seconds as well. So I don't know, like I was able to get the cooldown of that down relatively easily without really feeling like I was doing anything too weird with my rotation. I was skipping Remorseless Winter, which I guess I could have cast because it cost 1 rune, but I was mostly trying to hit Obliterate as much as I possibly could for the 2 rune spin there. And then, you know, I think with Frost Strike, it just depends on your runic power generation. Like, if you're not generating overly fast, then you can afford to ignore Frost Strike and just let some runic power build up and then just dump when you're getting close to cap. If you do have some rapid runic power generation, then you probably do need to still work your Frost Strikes in there so you don't waste resources. I don't know, seems pretty cool. Frost is still just doing Frost things, which I'm a big fan of. I like Frost Decay quite a bit. And I like the animation on this Obliterate. Like, oh, it just looks like, look at that, it's like slam. Yeah. I'm a fan. But I mean, I've been a huge fan of Death Knight for a long time. So no surprise there. What I'm not a fan of is how slow you are on a Death Knight. All right, let's hearth our butts back. We'll go to a different zone, switch specs, and try a different ability. Music reminder. Oh, I turned it on, right? At some point. All right, Lost, thanks for tuning in. You guys don't forget to like the stream if you're enjoying checking out classes in the beta with me. Just let YouTube know, like, hey, this is good stuff. All right, so we're going to look at Unholy next. Unholy should be interesting. I'm not as familiar with Unholy as I am the other specializations, so it might take me a minute just to kind of work myself back into the rotation. We are sticking with the two-hander. Got all of our stuff set up. And I think we will go and... I don't know. Let's check out the Necrolords. All right, so we're going to pop over to the Necrolords, and while we're at it, I'm going to take a quick AFK while we're traveling, and then when I come back, we will go over the changes to Unholy Decay, take a look at what's going on there, and also show off this Necrolord ability, which is pretty fun, honestly. It's pretty sweet. All right, I'll be back in just a minute. All right, we're back. Ready to check out Unholy. So let's jump over and see what we have for changes here. All right, a couple of things. So first off, baseline. Oh yeah, this is something I was pretty excited about. We have Summon Gargoyle as a baseline ability, as it should be, as it was, instead of having to select it as a talent. So this is an instant cast, 3-minute cooldown. Summons a gargoyle into the area to bombard the target for 30 seconds. The gargoyle gains 1% increased damage for every 2 runic power you spend. Pretty cool ability. Pretty sweet effect. Apparently I can't just cast it for fun, unfortunately. Also, let's see. Army of the Damned talent says this returns an even stronger force with a familiar and faithful recruit, a Magus of the Dead. These formidable magic wheelers have fought side by side with Maldraxis' Bannermen, and their presence rallies Unholy Death Knight's Ghoulish armies, lobbing Frostbolts and Shadowbolts into the enemy. So Gargoyle, this is talking about the actual ability here. So bring doom upon the enemy, dealing 774 shadow damage and bursting up to 4 festering wounds on the target. No, I'm reading the wrong one. It's this one. Army of the Dead. There we go. 8-minute cooldown. That sounds way more correct. Instant cast, 3 runes. Summons a legion of ghouls who swarm your enemies, fighting anything they can for 30 seconds. Now with Army of the Damned, the talent, this is what adds the Magus of the Dead for 15 seconds. So without this, you've got your regular just swarm of ghouls and everything, but if you pick up the talent here, this has been tweaked to add that in. Also with Army of the Dead, you have Death Coil reduces the cooldown of Apocalypse by 1 second and Army of the Dead by 5 seconds. So with Unholy, you are casting Death Coil fairly often, so you can pick up some additional reduction there and use Army of the Dead more often. And this adds a Magus to Apocalypse. Okay, so it is all working together. Like I'm getting a little bit mixed up here, but we got it sorted out. Okay, so Army of the Dead and Apocalypse both will summon a Magus of the Dead with the Army of the Damned talent now. Also, if you have this talent, Death Coil, reduce the cooldown for both of those. Army of the Dead, huge cooldown, just summons a bunch of ghouls to fight for you for 30 seconds, whereas Apocalypse will deal damage and burst festering wounds on the target, and summon an Army of the Dead ghoul for 15 seconds for each burst festering wound, and you can use this much more often. And there's been a change to the mastery for Unholy. It says increases the damage of your minions and shadow damage ability by 33%. So those are the main changes, okay? And that's all mostly just wrapped around one particular talent. Now, here we have Raise Dead rank 2 for Unholy. So this is instant 30-second cooldown. Raise a ghoul to fight by your side. You can have a maximum of 1 ghoul at a time. So unlike the other specializations, your ghoul for Unholy is still permanent, as the theme for Unholy is like festering wounds and minions, pretty much. So you get to keep the minion. The rest of your stuff, I believe, is pretty much the same. So we have our normal suite of abilities. We've got our passives here. So we got our Death Blade pass, or Death Strike passive. We've got our Mastery, which we talked about. Runic Corruption. So each runic power you spend has a chance to increase your rune regeneration rate by 100% for 3 seconds. And Sudden Doom. Your auto attacks have a chance to make your next Death Coil cost no runic power. Now, what we're doing here is we've got Outbreak. This costs 1 rune, and it affects nearby enemies with Virulent Plague. And the Plague deals about 1,200 shadow damage over 27 seconds. So it's a long time. The point there isn't really the damage. It's to have the Plague there. It says it erupts when the infected target dies, dealing 323 shadow damage to nearby enemies. So you get that little kind of AoE poof there as well. But we're going to be putting Outbreak onto things, and we're also going to be using Festering Strike. This is 2 runes, instant cast, deals 1,100 physical damage, and infects the target with 2 to 3 festering wounds. The Festering Wound is a lesion that will burst on death or when damaged by Scourge Strike, which we're going to look at in a minute, which will deal shadow damage and generate runic power. So basically, we are going to throw Outbreak out there just like we would you know, our frost ability or our blood ability to just get some dots going on all the targets around us. Then we're going to start pumping in Festering Strike to put wounds onto the target. Then we're going to use our Scourge Strike, which costs 1 rune. It deals some damage, and then it causes a Festering Wound to burst. And as we just looked, or as we just saw, when a wound bursts, it deals damage and generates runic power. And then primarily for Unholy, we're going to be spending runic power on our Death Coil, which is going to deal damage or heal an undead ally for 2700 health. And this will reduce the cooldown of Dark Transformation by 1 second. Dark Transformation has 1 minute cooldown, and it basically turns our ghoul into an uber ghoul. So that's the gist of what we're doing there. We do have our Death and Decay and all the other stuff we've talked about for all the other Death Knight specializations. But that's the general flow there. So we're going to find some enemies. It looks like we might have the level 60 ones here if they actually show up. Nope, we got the 54s. So, yeah, we're going to throw our Plague on there. We're going to get some Festering Wounds. We're going to burst them. And we can throw out a Death Coil when we want to spend some runic power, right? And that's pretty much it. That's like the core of the rotation there. With that said, with our Death Coil reducing the cooldown of our Dark Transformation, if we do want to like pump some extra damage in, then we can just use Dark Transformation and pump our ghoul, and then we can start spending runic power on our Death Coil. Or possibly we get like free procs for Death Coil as well. Nothing too crazy. It's basically what Unholy does at the moment. Let's roll through the rotation one more time. So we're going to cast that. We're going to get some Festering Wounds. And so we're up to 4. He can die, and we can not actually show bursting the wounds. Let's see if we can find a more pumped up enemy. Oh, there's one of the big guys. Alright, so hit him with this. Alright. We got a free cast of Death Coil. So we burst a wound. Maybe we burst a wound. This lag is killing me. So you get the general idea. Now we have the Necrolord Covenant ability for Death Knight, which is going to attach an additional limb to us for 12 seconds, and it's going to deal shadow damage to all nearby enemies, and it's going to pull in any enemies that are further than 8 yards away. This does have a 20-yard range, so it's not a full like 40-yard crazy range, but it will, as you can see, pull that stuff in, and if he runs away, it'll pull him back in again. And then we're going to attempt to lag kill this guy. As you can see, Slappy Hands is a pretty fun ability. It lasts a decent amount of time. Right now, it's overextended because of lag. But it does have a longer cooldown on it. So it's fun. But I don't know. For open world content, I think I'd probably take something else. But that's the thing with these Covenant abilities, right? You're taking them for all types of content. It doesn't matter because you can't change them unless you totally switch your Covenant. So yeah, Unholy seems fine. I think I just generally have more fun on Frost. I like the effects, the sound effects, the visual effects and stuff a little bit better than I do Unholy. But I think they both play fairly well. And I kind of wonder, I think I liked the Kyrian ability a little bit better. I think it had a little more, it was maybe more my style. Like I really like the slappy hands, yank stuff in, deal damage to stuff. Definitely a good ability. I think also, man, that Necroload armor just looks so sick. I don't know. Like all around, I think Necrolords are pretty solid for Decay. But I think maybe that Kyrian ability was a little bit more my style. Slappy hands, what? Yeah, if you look at the... well, look at the animation, okay? Let's get off the mount. I'll show you. Look at the hands. They're just like slap, 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 slap. They're the B-slap hands. If you know what I'm saying. So yeah, slappy hands. That's the kid-friendly way to say it. All right, so I'm going to exit here because I don't have a Hearthstone, so we're going to jump in and make a different DK and look at blood. LMAO. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Slappy hands. All right, Covenant choice. Let's make another Death Knight, and this time we're going to make... Let's see, we did a Dwarf. Let's do a... Let's do a Death Fox. These names are so easy when nobody is on the server. Alright, so we're going to check out Blood. Obviously, Blood is, that's the spec that I play the most. I played Frost quite a bit too, though. So we'll check it out, and we're going to check out that Night Fae ability. And the reason that I saved Night Fae for Blood is because I want to see if you can have your Death and Decay down along with the Night Fae ability as well. Like if you can stack them. Look at you, Horde guy, looking much more Death Knight than the Dorky Alliance. Eh? I hope someone is laughing with me at this. Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay, so let's see if we can stack those. I gotta see what this thing looks like in the other armors. Dude, get yourself the captain title. My rogue is Outlaw Captain Kid. Oh, nice. That doesn't look as bad. Although this just kind of looked like Big Head Amumu from League of Legends. A little bit. Cass, if that what was what am I giggling about, it's just his nose poking out of the mask. Just looks super weird. That's pretty friggin' fierce. Does the Necrolord look cool on the fox? The nose sticks through on this one too, like... Come on, Bliss. What are you doing? This guy's got like a snout sticking through his teeth. Oh, you were giggling too? Good. Because it's kind of silly. Alright, let's go blood it up. You guys, Blood's pretty much the same. I already played Blood, and there's not really a lot of changes. But we'll still go and give it its due and try out the Covenant ability. I started doing these deep dives and I was like, yeah, let's check them out. And the more that I've done them, the more I've realized like Blizzard just hasn't made that many changes in general. Not ones that are like, oh man, this is totally different. It's like, okay, there's some mild tweaks here or there. But there's some good news in there. I think the main piece of good news is like Torghast exists. I think for me that's the piece of big news is Torghast exists, and therefore the classes are going to be more fun than they are in the default state anyway, regardless of legendaries or conduits or soulbinds or any of that kind of good stuff. They're still going to be more fun in that mode. So that's kind of like the good news for me. But I mean, across the board, like they play pretty similar. There's been some resource changes and stuff like that, but Oh, Essence of Ardenweald. You have learned Death's Due ability, replacing your Death and Decay. Which it totally doesn't say that it replaces Death and Decay on the Covenant selector, so I'm going to go back and bug report that once we're done here, because it should say that, right? You need to know that you're giving up Death and Decay for this. So we deal damage to targets within the area. They deal reduced damage up to a maximum of 15%, which we wanted to figure out like how that's calculated. Dude, isn't this the most Death Knight thing you've ever seen? Look at that. So, like, blood decay, 100%. Alright, so we'll try this ability out. Why do you want me to put this on my bar? What? Okay, that's... Yeah, that's annoying. I have to put this on my bar to get it to go away. Even though it isn't actually an ability. It's just a thing that tells me I have an ability. So, how about that not be a thing? Oh, push the button. Why? Okay. Anyway, moving along. Let's go down. There's some level 60s in this area that we can fight, which is good because we're blood decay, and if we don't fight level 60s, we're going to be bored out of our minds. Alright, so as far as what's new with blood decay, so the main thing here is that Rune Tap is now available baseline. So if we pop over into our abilities, we have, Blood Tap. And Rune Tap, actually. No, are we getting Blood Tap from a talent? No. Okay, Rune Tap is baseline. So cost 1 rune, instant 25-second recharge, max 2 charges, reduce all damage taken by 20% for 4 seconds. So we now have an on-demand damage reduction ability. Like we needed it, right? But we've got it. So, we do have it available. Where are these panthers at? Oh, up here, up this hill. There we go. Okay, so Rune Tap is baseline, and now we have Blood Tap. So this is another ability. Instant 1-minute recharge. Consume the essence around you to generate 1 rune. Recharge time reduced by 2 seconds whenever a bone shield charge is consumed, which is going to be fairly often if you're tanking. So you should be able to Blood Tap much more frequently than 1 minute, especially with the 2 charges. I don't know. I imagine you could have this up every 30 seconds pretty easily. And then we also have Relish in Blood, which I think is going to be a talent. Yep, right here. So this says, while Crimson Scourge is active, your next Death and Decay heals you for 274 per bone shield charge, and you immediately gain 10 runic power. So Crimson Scourge is our passive ability. It says your auto attacks on targets infected with your Blood Plague have a chance to make your next Death and Decay, cost no runes, and reset its cooldown. So when that happens, our Death and Decay is also going to heal us per Bone Shield charge that we have and give us 10 runic power. Our only other passive ability is our Mastery Blood Shield. So each time we heal ourselves with Death Strike, we gain a percentage of the healing as a physical absorption shield, and our attack power is also increased passively here. So as far as abilities go, we've got our oddball stuff like Asphyxiate, Dancing Rune Weapon, Death's Caress. We also have Gorfiend's Grasp, and Vampiric Blood. So those are kind of the oddball things. We have our Blood Boil, so we can get Blood Plague onto stuff. Kind of get some AoE threat generation going. We have our Death's Due, which is replacing our Death and Decay, which we can get the free procs for that from Crimson Scourge. We have Marrow Rend, which is going to deal damage and generate our Bone Shields. We have Heart Strike, which is our rune spending ability that we can turn into a little bit of an AoE if we are inside of our Death and Decay. And then we have our Death Strike as well, which we can slam down for some healing if we need it. So like I said, nothing much has really changed, but let's check out this new ability here. Come on, Panthers, bring on the lag. All right, so we Blood Boil. We're going to start Marrow Rending. We got our free little Death and Decay thing, so let's check this out. Not getting as many, like, free procs of this thing as I would hope. There we go, there's another one. Does this have... Okay, it does have a cooldown. But I don't think it's affected by... I think, what's it called? Your name, Crimson Scourge. I think it does affect it. Wow, that's... Not a fan of those sound effects. So yeah, that was a 4 enemy pull, level 60. It's Blood Decay. If you're feeling Blood Decay right now, like, it's still pretty good. At least out here doing the stuff that I'm doing, so... Okay, we're getting a lot of Crimson Scourge procs there. It's Blood Decay. Anybody got any questions about Blood Decay? I mean, like I said, it is what it is. Mop Frost. I mean, Frost is fine. Like, you don't have to use the two-hander if you don't want to use the two-hander. And honestly, I like the gameplay flow of Frost in its current state. I think it's fine. I think it's pretty fun. I don't know. I like the two-handed animation, at least the one that I was seeing on there. Still with the BFA weapon, yeah. Also, your vids are super informative, man. All the way from Australia. You're a legend. No, you're a legend? I don't want to try to do the accent, otherwise, like, I would have thrown that into, like, a Crocodile Dundee reference. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I almost just, yeah, I'm not doing it. Blood must be... Oh, man. Venthyr? Or what they're called. Yeah, the Venthyr ability looks really good all around for DK. And yeah, like if you're the spec, like thematically, it really fits. I don't know. I need to test it out. So something that I wanted to try doing, which we can try on here, because I need to go bug reports that Covenant choice as well. I want to go ahead and actually, we'll do it on this stream. I want to make the choice. I want to go Venthyr on this character and see if it actually lets me try the ability. And if it does, then that's cool, because I'll be able to make the video where I just go check out all the Venthyr abilities on the various classes. But on the off chance that that actually works, we'll get to put that in here on the Death Knight video as well. So we're going to go over to where we need to choose our Covenant, do our bug report, pick Venthyr. I think we get the ability almost right away, so shouldn't take too long. Okay, so right here. Right. Alright, should state in the tooltip when choosing that this ability will replace death and decay. It's pretty obvious. That's what I figured would happen, but it should definitely state it, you know. Alright, so let's go choose Rivendreth and see what happens. Any mobility updates for Decay and Shadowlands? Maybe a Soulbind, if we're lucky. No. Actually, did it get worse? It might have gotten worse. What do we have for mobility? We still have on a pale horse. That doesn't help. You know, I think they just like shoved everything into talents, which is kind of obnoxious. Like Wraithwalk is in talents. What was the other one we had? Like March of the Damned or Dead or something like that. Death's Advanced. So that's here. Instant 45-second cooldown. Yeah, and you can Wraithwalk if you want. So no. Nope. Soulbind. Hopefully a Soulbind or a Conduit. Like, what if a Death Knight Conduit was literally just like, you can move faster sometimes. I might take it. Oh, okay. Let's go over here. Are you gonna let me choose? Oh yeah, that's right. You gotta talk to the person right here. The person also known as the former Lich King, Venthyr. Let's join. Boom. All right. I think General Draven is awesome, and I really wish these were like playable characters. All right, so let's go over to Rivendreth. See if this will give us the ability to use. Haha, g'day, mate. I don't know. You know what's funny is one of the managers at my work is Australian. And she constantly says that she doesn't have an accent, and she is a straight up liar. She does. Like, it's pretty bad. What's funny though is hearing customers come in and go, "Hey, I'm looking for the lady with the English accent." And it's like, nope. Will, that's rough. Absolutely, that's rough. Like, DK is still pretty crap for mobility. Does anyone else in here stream too? I don't know of anyone else that's in chat that streams as well. All right, I should have taken the flight path. Why am I so dumb? It's because I'm not paying attention and I'm distracted because there's food waiting on me and I want to eat it. But there's a flight path right here. So problem solved. We need to fly to Sanctuary of the Mad. Look, we're on a bat. Wow, it's a bat with a spiky helmet and a big ugly face. All right. Do we have... Is it in our spell book yet? I don't see anything. I don't think they put it in our spec tab. I think it goes in the class tab. Oh yeah, we have Rune Forging to look at as well. Dang it. I'm just kidding. You guys, I'm ready. I'm doing the class deep dives. We got 4 left. The next one's gonna be Warlock and Monk, and then after that we're gonna be doing Warrior and Priest, and I am like ready to move along and start looking at legendary abilities and soul binds and conduits and all that kind of good stuff that's gonna be the icing on top of the class cake. I'm ready for it at this point. I'm like... And part of that is just because, like I said, it doesn't appear like Blizzard has actually done a whole lot of drastic changes to most of the classes at their core. So it kind of feels like doing these videos, I'm sort of rehashing BFA. There are changes to go over, right, in the Covenant abilities and stuff. But at the same time, it's like, okay, yeah, blood's blood, right? There's nothing really different. Enter Sinfall through the blood mirror. Is that what this is? Let me up. No, that's not what it is. Is it underground somewhere? Why you gotta make this difficult? Why can't I just go there? Gotta go in a hole in the ground first. Ooh, spooky. Alright, we're gonna do this loyalty pledge thing. Does advance! Go, go, go! I'm gonna speed down there and then I'm gonna have to wait for him to finish his speech anyway. Why is everyone so much bigger than we are? Okay, never mind. I'm on a fox. Life. I may have missed it, but what are your plans for the server and factions? So I'm on the Proudmoore server, Proudmoore US. It's a more alliance populated server than it is Horde. So that's the server I'm going to be on. But I'm going to be playing both factions. My plan is to have 4 main characters, but I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to play them all. So I'll be active on both sides. I think initially I'll be active on one faction for the core leveling process up to max, but then I almost always immediately switch over to an alt. And that alt will be on the other faction. Currently, Prop Paladin is like #1 in the lead for me for like spec that I want to main for Shadowlands. So there's a good chance I'm going to start Alliance with that and then switch over to something Horde for the second character. I'm also going to take like a week off from work when this expansion comes out. So yeah, if you're interested in the guild, I'm going to crank that up sometime in the near future here. But it's going to be on Proudmoore, US, both factions, so you can pick whatever you like. And we're going to be doing Torghast, and we're going to be doing the dungeon running stuff that I talked about before. Just kind of helping people run dungeons, learn new classes and specs, and all that kind of good stuff. So we got our Door of Shadows ability, but we don't have our class ability yet. So I'm going to keep plugging along here. Okay, cool. I'll get started on that server then. 1-1. Proudmoore is full, by the way, in the US. Yep, so there might be queue times and stuff, but this is where I am. I can't afford to transfer 12 characters. Yeah, it's an older server, so it is full. But it's a nice server to be on. Like especially if you're on the Alliance side, there's like always people doing world quests and stuff like that. The auction house is pretty solid. Okay. Hey, did we actually get the class ability? We did. Okay, so confirmed. We can test out the Rivendreth abilities by actually going through this whole process to join them. And then having to run somewhere else to test it out. Okay, so let's give it a test. I keep feeling like I'm gonna just fall off the edge there. Do we have a flight master somewhere? How do I get out of here? I want to leave. Aren't there stairs over here? Yeah. Maybe there's a faster way to get out, but I would rather like not waste the time doing that. Can I change my talent? Give me Wraith Walk. Go, Death Knight, go. Oh, this is why I like being a Worgen. Is because I have the additional Worgen movement ability, and so I can actually get 3 movement abilities on a DK, and man, that racial passive probably doesn't mean anything to a lot of other classes, but it feels OP as hell on a Death Knight. Alright, let's go try this thing out. I love the ground texture here. That looks awesome. That looks like I'm gonna die. I go over there. Probably need to, I guess, take the elevator back down or go out through that gate. Let's go out through that gate. We know what's going on in Elevator Town down there. Cass says, no worries. How else will you be able to get a feel for the changes to help those with those sweet, sweet Shadowlands guides? I know, I'm just so like eager to do. Like honestly, I'm doing these videos and the whole time I'm like, dude, you could be playing Torghast. What are you doing? Play Torghast. Go play Torghast. Go Torghast. Go Torghast. Needless to say, I'm super pumped about Torghast. Alright, let's find an enemy somewhere, and then we are going to surround ourselves with a heavy mist, increasing our dodge by 10% to deal 300 shadow damage every 1 second to enemies within 10 yards. Every time it deals damage, we're getting runic power up to a max of 15. So, what level are these guys? 60? Yeah, whatever, that's fine. So let's do it. Alright, so we're gonna... Ooh, fancy. We're gonna blood tap. Let's go ahead and get that going. Let's do our swarming mist. So that's pretty dope. Let's get some death strikes in. We're generating it. Oh, so we can like death strike the hell out of everything with the runic power there. Is there anything else we'd want to spend the runic power on? We're not getting procs. Oh, an elite. Interesting. This is getting a little nuts. What the hell? Okay. We're gonna need to death strike our way out of this. Guys, I'm not prepared for this, okay? I don't have my cooldowns. I don't have anything going on. Alright, let's switch to you. Let's kill you. Let's get some death strikes going. Let's take out this guy here. Let's get our stacks back up. This is a little bit ridiculous. Okay, and then we want to I need to get some death strikes in. All right. Okay, we just need to build up more death strikes. Do I have anything in my book right now that's going to help me out? Reduce all damage taken. That seems good. Generate a rune. Sure. Let's get that going. Let's keep building these up. Okay, well, you know, it's blood decay. Okay, cool. So I guess we can go look at this rune forging thing, and that'll be a nice scholarly way to end the stream here. As opposed to that super cool, hey, let's just kill everything, including an elite way. That would have been a great way to end the stream, but no, we've got to go read. Guys, we've got to go read things. So let's go read. So let's take our teleportal deathgate thingamajig. We don't have to do this, but whatever. We're gonna. Is this weird for you not using your normal OPI setup? Yes, it is. Obviously, I would play a lot better with that setup. And also, I get the added benefit right now of people watching the videos going, what is this clicker noob doing? So that's always a sweet perk. The sarcasm. You guys, I don't know. I'm a little feisty today. If you can't tell. Hopefully it's not hopefully it's like entertaining or something at least and not annoying. Man, I haven't been here in a minute. Here we go. That's what I wanted. Send me up, Pink Beam. All right. Where is the Rune Forging thing? It is this thing, right? No? 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 I don't remember. Okay, we're just gonna read, I guess. Whoa. Whoa. What is going on? This is an experience that I've never had before. I don't have the ability to fly in this expansion. What is this witchcraft? Look at me, guys. I'm so free. I don't have I don't have a single pathfinding achievement. Not a one. Oh, man. Okay. So anyway, let's look at these Rune Forge thingamajigs and check out all the new ones that we have. All right, so we're used to a couple of these here. So I believe, let's go back up here. Rune Forge changes. So Rune of the Apocalypse we've had before, as well as Rune, no, not this one. We've had Rune of the Stone Skin Gargoyle. So this was the increased armor and stats by 5%. It's a pretty good general one. We also had Fallen Crusader. This was the rune that has a chance to heal you for 6% and increase total strength by 15% for 15 seconds. Pretty good for blood decay. And then maybe it was Apocalypse. Yeah, okay, Apocalypse, yes. So this is the one that says, gives your ghouls attacks a chance to apply one of the following debuffs to the target. Blah, 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 blah. So now we have a couple of new ones. We have Rune of Hysteria. Wow, this music is a little ridiculous. Affixes your rune weapon with a rune that increases maximum runic power by 20, and your attacks have a chance to increase runic power generation by 20% for 8 seconds. We've got Razor Ice. Affixes your weapon with a rune that causes 15% extra weapon damage as frost damage and increases vulnerability to your frost attacks by 3%, stacking up to 5 times. Sanguination causes your death strike to deal increased damage based on your target's missing health. When you fall below 35% health, you heal for 48% of your maximum health over 8 seconds. What? What is the internal cooldown on that? Because that seems real good for leveling and possibly just solo world questing until you get geared up enough that it doesn't matter. Yeah, I like that one. Spell Warding fixes your rune weapon with a rune that deflects 3% of all spell damage and has a chance to create a shield that absorbs magic damage equal to 10% of your maximum health. When an enemy damages the shield, their cast speed is reduced by 10% for 6 seconds. Seems real specific. Unending Thirst. Okay, this gives you a rune that grants 10% haste and movement speed and heals you for 5% of your maximum health when you kill an enemy that yields experience or honor. Additionally, your movement speed while dead is increased by 10%. That also seems pretty good. 10% haste is not insignificant, and a 5% heal is pretty solid as well. Is that better than this one? Probably, actually. This one is good if you're struggling, right? And you're hitting that 35% health threshold, which you're probably not doing on Blood Decay, but you might do on Frost Decay, depending on your gear and all that kind of good stuff. But overall, like Unending Thirst, like haste and movement speed is solid for leveling and world content. And then just getting a 5% heal anytime you kill an enemy that yields experience or honor. Yeah, that's actually pretty nice because, you know, in that example there where I just pulled a bunch of crap, every time I would have killed one of those, I would have gotten a 5% heal on my maximum health, which, yeah, that's like a 700. I don't know. I can't math right now. Let's see. I'm gonna math. 10% is 3,500, so half of that. So like 17. Okay, like 1,700 health, I think. If I math that wrong, someone can make fun of me. It's not bad. Yeah, I like that one. So spell warding is weirdly specific. Unending Thirst just looks good all around for like just to help you keep moving from enemy to enemy while you're playing. Sanguination seems pretty legit for content. Also maybe tanking. I don't know. Like maybe like progression tanking. You know, if you're in those situations where you feel like you might drop below 35% health occasionally while you're running dungeons or something like that. Man, that'd be interesting in PvP too. And then like Razor Ice, Hysteria, that kind of stuff. I could see you putting those on, like, you know, after your gear and stuff's good enough that you're not really struggling with, you know, with the content that you're in and you're looking for more DPS instead of survivability. I think it's hilarious when they call you a clicker noob. I remember the one time I tried to, I don't know, when I first started the channel, I did try to argue, not argue, but just like state my point with people on a couple of things like that. And eventually I just gave up. I was like, you know what? It's not even worth talking to them. They have their opinion and I'm not changing it. Flying, I know. Hey, Murphy, don't ruin it, okay? I know I'm in Eastern Plaguelands, but don't ruin it. Do I have those achieves on this character? I think I do. No, I don't. God, Murphy, why you gotta ruin it? Do I have the Legion ones? I don't. Oh, Murphy. I don't like you anymore. All right, guys, that's going to end this stream here. I can't get too unprofessional on these. People are going to watch these for information. All right. So the next stream coming up for World of Warcraft is going to be here on the channel. It should be tomorrow around the same time. We're going to be covering Warlock and Monk, which there are quite a few changes for Monk. So that should be a little bit more juicy than this particular one, where basically both classes were kind of the same across the board. Warlock has a few moderate changes, but that'll still be fun to look at. So we'll check those out. And then I'm not exactly sure when the Warrior Priest stream is going to be. I've got a lot going on Friday. I'm still going to try to pop in and make that stream happen. And that way we will have finished up all the class deep dives this week. and we can move on to something else, probably checking out legendaries. The Venthyr Covenant abilities, Soulbinds, and Conduits is going to be like the next big chunk of content that I think I'm going to be working on. And those we're going to do in just kind of like batches of like, hey, we're just going to go check out all the Soulbinds minus the Conduits. Then we'll go through and look at Conduits for different classes. We'll look at legendary powers for different classes, all that kind of good stuff. So there's still so much content to cover, but I'm very grateful to have gotten into the beta and be able to do this kind of stuff, show it off with you guys on stream. Appreciate everybody tuning in and chatting. Like, you guys are really, really keeping me going, keeping me motivated, keeping me entertained. I can't express how much I appreciate you guys jumping in to the streams and chatting and everything. Now, that being said, I'm going to take a little break. And I'm going to go and eat some food. And then I'm going to be over on Twitch. Now, I mentioned this on the stream last night, but I was mistaken. I thought that a Legends of Runeterra event started yesterday, but it started today. So I'm going to go over to Twitch, play some non-WoW stuff. I'm going to be showing off the new Legends of Runeterra Spirit Blossoms event and everything there. So if you want to keep hanging out with me, you know, outside of a WoW context, feel free to join me over on Twitch. It's a beautiful card game, lots of cool art. Be down to ask questions or just whatever you guys want to do over there. So if you do want to pick up with me, you know, like I said, I'm going to take a short break and go get some food and then hop over there. So hopefully I'll see at least a couple of you over there. And if not, it's all good. I'll stream just for fun. So yeah, everybody, thanks for tuning in. If I see you on Twitch, cool. If not, I'll see you back here around the same time tomorrow for the next class deep dive video. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Let's see. I'm going to catch up on chat real quick. Murphy says, I am just that guy. You are just that guy. You guys don't forget to like the video before you go if you haven't liked it yet. Will says, so far, what class do you feel has the most changes? Shaman. I think, like, just top of my head, Shaman, I think, has the most changes at like a fundamental level. Paladin feels a little different because of the holy power resource, but not too much. Blood Decay, Rogue, pretty much the same. Let me get out to a character select screen. I do like kind of giving these little reports at the end too. And it totally booted me out of the game. Thank you. Do this quick rundown, and also I'm going to relink my Trello specialization rankings if you guys want to check those out. So these are just my personal opinions on what I think is fun and interesting right now. So if we jump in here, haven't checked out Warrior. Hunter feels pretty much the same, but Marksman got a lot of cool stuff. Mage is about the same. Rogue's about the same. Paladin, new resource for 2 of the specializations. Druid balance got some tweaks and changes that are pretty significant, but the rest of the specs are basically the same. Shaman got a lot of changes for elemental and enhancement in particular. Demon Hunter is about the same. Death Knight's about the same. So from the ones that I've done the deep dives for, like, definitely Shaman is the standout as like the most changes. And I think Balanced Druid is probably the next runner-up, just in terms of playing significantly differently from BFA. A lot of times it kind of equals out to feeling roughly the same, but like the way you get there is pretty different. So, all right, everybody. Hope you're having fun in whatever it is that you're doing. And I'll see you back on the next stream tomorrow. Or I'll see you on Twitch in a few minutes. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Peace.